What's going on, guys? My name is Jack Abraham, and today I'm going to talk to you all about concussions and their impact on the game of football over the last decade or so. Um, what is a concussion? A concussion is a brain injury that is caused by repetitive hits to the head, and you can get concussions in really any kind of physical activity. But obviously, the one I'm going to be talking about is concussions resulting from a football-related injury. So the brain is made of soft tissue and cushioned by spinal fluid, and so whenever you sustain a hit to the head, your brain can literally move around your head and cause serious problems. Your brain is considered like a bottle of water and having like an orange in there, and every time you get a hit to the head, your brain just shakes around your head and has nothing to really support it. So. Um, with that, concussions can also be very tricky to diagnose because you obviously cannot visually see a concussion. Trainers and doctors have to take very specific caution with this injury because it's very difficult to kind of figure out if someone has it. The main signs of a concussion include confusion or feeling dazed, clumsiness, slurred speech, nausea, headaches, and among other common symptoms. There are three types of concussions: grade 1, grade 2, and grade 3. The severity of the concussion is determined on the factors of whether they lost consciousness or whether they remember stuff or if they've lost equilibrium, that kind of stuff. So grade 1 is obviously the less severe of all three of them. It's the mild concussion where symptoms may last no longer than 15 minutes and there's no loss of consciousness. Grade 2, on the other hand, is in between, obviously, and symptoms may last anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes, but there's also no loss of consciousness. And grade 3 is the most severe, where symptoms may last over an hour or 2 hours, maybe even longer than that, and a person will lose consciousness when they suffer a grade 3 concussion. After sustaining a concussion, it's very important to stay away from all physical activity and just getting in bed and resting and closing your eyes, because the only way to really recover from a concussion is to let your brain heal and rest, because it's just like a wound you would get on your skin. Like your brain's getting beat around up there, and blood's flowing around in there, and the brain's got to heal, and the only way to do that is through sleep and rest. Other treatment options to kind of help ease the symptoms are taking acetaminophen, pain relievers, over the counter kind of stuff to kind of ease the aches and dizziness. So with that, concussions have had a huge impact on football in the last 10 years, and really one of the main reasons why concussions have really hurt football is because of the media and the ability for people to figure out about concussions, about stories about people having terrible concussions from football, and this has led to parents holding their kids out from tackle football from a young age, and that's really hurting the game of football and hurting the popularity of it. But they're definitely in the right, though. According to the CDC, an estimated 175,000 people under the age of 19 were hospitalized in emergency rooms for concussions related to sports and recreation activities. So it definitely makes sense, but at the same time, there's got to be some precautionary actions taken for that, which there are. I'll talk about them here in a few minutes, but it's hurting the game of football. People are dropping out of the game and not playing anymore. High schools are shutting down across the country because they don't have enough people to play the game. You got to have 11 people to play on both sides of the ball, and they're running out of people to play. And Oxbridge Academy, a school in Florida, decided to shut down the football program in 2018 due to a decreasing number of players on the team. They entered spring football with 20 players, which is a staggering number because you can't have a functioning football team with only 20 players. So this is happening all around the country, man. I mean, it's really a tough thing. And going back to the example I used with the water bottle, it comes from the movie Concussion with Dr. Bennett Amalu, which is a true story. He was a forensic pathologist who discovered CTE. He made a statement to an audience at a New York press club that allowing kids under the age of 18 to play football is the definition of child abuse, which is a very, very strong statement for sure. Not only have concussions affected the high school level, it's also affected the NFL, and their media ratings are going down due to people not wanting their kids to watch football and see how violent it is, and it's also hurt because the NFL is having to take drastic measures to help prevent their players from sustaining concussions, and they're taking more action with targeting, with all that kind of stuff, with more flags, more rules that the referees have to enforce, and that's kind of taking away the violent part of the game, which is definitely taking away the attraction that the game used to have a long time ago for most fans out there. Let's see, and then also a lot of there's been, let's see, I think it was 91 players who were tested in a study here about 8 years ago. They're obviously deceased because you can't observe the brain while somebody's alive for CTE, which is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. But 87 players of those 91 players suffered from CTE, which is developed from a protein called tau that slowly builds up in your brain from all of the dramatic hits to the head, and it just eats away your brain cells in the process, and really just deteriorates it. And there have been multiple, like Aaron Hernandez, Junior Seau, have all suffered from CTE, and they both committed suicide. They both had anger problems, aggression, depression, paranoia, all that kind of stuff, and it really is sad. But there are definitely safety precautions being put in place to help prevent concussions, such as new helmets, new rules in the NFL, new pushing out new ideas for parents to kind of realize when it comes to letting their kids play the game. This actually, I got a helmet to show y'all. This is a Speed Flex helmet. This is the helmet I wore at junior college, and this is one of the newer helmets that Riddell has made, and it's unique in the fact that it's got this little ridge right here that helps when it comes to taking hits to the head. This right here it'll push in a little bit, and it kind of absorbs the force. That way, you're not taking as much force from a hit as you would with just a regular helmet. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you for having me.